So, welcome back to another Thursday on the Pagan Perspective, and welcome to July. So, this week we have 3 different questions about our opinions having to do with spell work. The question is in the box below, but I'm going to go ahead and read it. This one comes from Wyld Silverwolf. And they ask, there's 3 things here. So 1, what is your opinion about someone saying to be pagan, you must do spell work during a ritual? Can a ritual be done without any spell work? 2, what about doing a spell for someone without their knowing? 3, personal gain. So doing spell work for yourself. For example, in the Charmed series, they say absolutely no spells for personal anything, otherwise bad things will happen. Thoughts on any or all? So first off, where's my opinion about someone saying that to be pagan you have to do spell work during ritual? So I think that ritual is a type of spell work. Now my opinion on somebody saying that to be pagan you must do this thing, I think that that's a little kind of sketchy, because pagan is something that the definition for is very vague right now. There's a pretty thick line on what gets to be called pagan and what doesn't. For instance, if you were to ask each member of this channel what we define as pagan, you're going to get very different answers. And you'd get answers, you know, every pagan's going to give you a slightly different answer, and every person who isn't a pagan. For me, what I think about being pagan really does have to do with that earth-centered based belief, which is the root of the word originally, but that isn't necessarily what it means to everybody. So when somebody says you have to do this or this to be pagan, I think, well, says who? Like, there isn't an authority on what pagan is or isn't. And in my belief, it's not my place to tell somebody what it is or isn't. And a word like that is something that is continuing to evolve over time. So, the second part, can a ritual be done without any spell work? Well, I think that a ritual is a type of spell work, and we've talked before about that. I think basically spell work, the working of magic. Magic is the intentional shift of your consciousness and relation, which what I think consciousness is relation to self and world. What about doing a spell for someone without their knowing it? This one is a little trickier. I think that we do it all the time, unconsciously, right? We're doing spell work all the time without even really, we're putting intentions out there, or not necessarily out there, we are having intentions. We make choices for people all the time. How is that moral or not depends on your own morals. So again, this is something that I don't think I have the authority to tell you. For me, I would be unlikely to do a kind of formal ritual for somebody who I knew that it would bother. If I thought that it would be disrespectful for them and their religious beliefs, then I personally wouldn't do it. But, well, for somebody who probably wouldn't have an opinion on it, such as an infant, I would feel much more comfortable. But I would be uncomfortable doing that for an infant whose parents were uncomfortable with it, or whoever their guardians or caretakers were, because it's their job to be guiding and taking care of this infant, and I don't want to step on their toes. So number 2 is it depends, right? Now 3, I think, is very interesting. 3 asks about, is it okay to do spell work for yourself, personal gain, and asks about the Charmed. I want to say first off that I think the Charmed, I haven't watched a lot of it. I'm not really a big, like, for me to watch a series, I have to really like it because I don't have a TV, so I've got to go and find it online, and Charmed is definitely not. So, sorry about the camera dying. I think that from what I've watched, it's kind of a plot device because the type of magic that these characters have is not real magic, it's fantasy magic. It's, you know, ooh, wave your hands and things happen, and even though it might be closer than some series to what real magic is, it's still fantasy magic. So they needed some reason basically to say why these people don't completely run the world and don't have everything that they want and all of that. But in terms of doing it for yourself, like, yeah, like that's, you know, I think that most magic and most spell work that we do is inherently for ourselves. And I think that we are kind of, I'll put a link below. I recently talked about what I really think magic is, and what spell work is. But basically, I think that we're kind of tricking ourselves if we think that a spell isn't going to affect us. I think that spell work, how we affect the world, is by affecting ourselves. So I don't have a problem with that. In terms of bad things happening for doing something for yourself, it depends on how you do it. I think that you are going to invite negativity into your life if you're being negative and you're putting it out there, because that's how the world's going to respond to how you're behaving. But if you're putting really positive things out there and you are behaving in a positive way, and again, positive and negative are quite subjective, then that's what's going to be returned to a certain extent. So yeah, those are the three. What do you guys think? Let us know below. And for everyone who celebrates, I know many of our viewers are here in the USA. Happy 4th of July. And I'm really looking forward to next week's topic. In fact, it would have been great timing if that had been this week's topic, but it should be really interesting. So I will see you guys next week, and take care.